young adults having grown up in fatherless single-parent families, and these are all general statistical figures. It's not going into the details of individual cases, of course, which will be much different. So, stand a greater risk of not having finished a proper vocational education, earning lower incomes, becoming jobless, and in need of benefits, at risk of becoming homeless, or of getting involved in crime, of developing chronic emotional and mental health problems, developing general physical health complaints, and sooner having cohabiting relations which more often result in extramarital children, only to end up in separation or divorce much more. This is what the research says. Then from a different angle, recent research has shown that also the presence of ADHD in children is connected to growing up in fatherless single-parent families. There's more ADHD in having such a background. I want to say something now about less conflicts. That's also from the meta study of Bouterman. It became clear that in contrast with what was frequently claimed about shared parenting, the number and levels of conflict between the parents strongly diminished in comparison with the number of conflicts in situations in sole care between the parents. So there's less conflict in shared parenting arrangements as there is in sole care arrangements. And this again is important, this conflict issue, because children are so much hurt by conflict. British teenage girls, that's by the way the Bliss survey from 2005, girls take training on parents split, so that's, I think this is British. They find themselves heavily burdened by the burden separating parents put on them, the care parents, after a divorce. So it's a main stress, it's the third main stress in their lives, they even report that. That's quite heavy for children, when we're talking about best interest of children. And not only parents have less mutual conflicts in shared parenting arrangements, also children growing up in shared parenting appear to have less conflicts with their parents than children growing up in sole care of one parent. Then children want themselves. I'll be short on that because I don't know how much time you give me now.
1 more minute.
Yeah, 1 more minute. Then I'm going to cut some things short, but children do want themselves shared parenting. They don't want to lose any of their parents, let me cut short with that. And it results in shared parenting. There's research done by Brinnick. It results in less divorces and separations being affected. So it's an effective measure to stop the enormous flow of divorces to introduce shared parenting in family law. Then some short developments in the Netherlands. At the moment we have just passed a law that introduces by majority amendment, shared parenting in law, in the Dutch family law. And that has just passed the Commons and it's now in the Dutch Senate and is in discussion. To cut it very short, you're giving me 1 minute. If you want to know more about it, just ask. In Belgium, that's very interesting. They have introduced in September 2006 dual location, which is in effect a form of shared parenting. It is not by effect, but by presumption. And some specialties in the Belgian family law relate to that, which I think is a very interesting example of the Belgian family law. That when one of the parents asks the judge to look at possibilities for a shared parenting arrangement, then the judge is obliged to look seriously into it, have an investigation, and give a motivated judgment on whether or not it will be followed, the request. So that's on the request of only one of the parents. So if the other parent opposes, the judge still has that obligation to make a serious research. And case isn't closed. The case is kept open, which gives, because there's always the reinforcement issue that later on it is not followed up, the court-ordered parenting arrangement, that parents can always, one of the parents can go to the judge and ask to take measures to reinforce what is not being followed. And that seems to be a very important element in the family law. Then I want to end with Belgium. Then I want to end with Germany. Germany has a court experiment. It's called Proper Model, and that's very interesting. It's a judge, a district judge, who did things differently. He was confronted on his bench with fighting adversarial proceedings, fighting parents, fighting lawyers, and he said, well, it's actually not up to me to make the best arrangements for your children. It would be much better if you do this yourself and come up with a parenting method. And so that he sort of made that obligatory, and sort of the parents were only allowed sort of to come back in the court for their divorce when they came up with a mutually agreed parenting arrangement. And that set up the lawyers and all the helping professions, like the Fachkraft, which is called in Germany the Jugendamt, to help these parents get to a solution and an agreed mutual parenting arrangement. And it is I think a very interesting good practice also, maybe for lawyers. I want to leave it at that.